Happy Friday, everyone. So, it is our Golden Hour series, which is a conversation that we have with people who inspire us. Today's guest is Shayla. She is a badass consultant and also a plant mom. She does such amazing work styling people's homes, and I can't wait for everyone to meet her. In addition to that, today's conversation is going to be about personal success and defining what that means. So as I get her on, I hope everyone's having a great Friday. Hey!
Hello!
Hello! Okay, so I actually figured out how to add you.
Okay.
I was like, well, you have to add me because I got to talk and do all this stuff. But then you figured out how to add me, so I love it. We already have so many guests. And I told you earlier, I was like, don't expect too many. That's just, I guess, me. Today's like October. Everyone's excited.
I know, right? Seriously, though, which is crazy that it's already October. Like I said, my birthday was in May, and the time between May and October, like, I don't know where the time went.
Seriously, me neither. I still can't believe it's October, and I'm an October baby. So I always look forward to October, but it does not feel like October at all. Like, I don't see any Halloween decorations anywhere. It doesn't help that I'm in Hawaii. I don't even know if people are going to be trick-or-treating. I was literally just telling my friends, like, this is the year I was expecting to, like, hand out candy, but now we can't.
I know. At least it is a blessing you're in Hawaii. As you can tell, I'm trying to channel.
You look like you're in Hawaii. I
Hawaii, Bali, anywhere.
Speaking of which, I know I was literally just telling everyone that you are like this stylist guru, not only fashion, but like you're styling people's homes with all these beautiful plants with the Plant Penthouse. So I know that we'll have some questions about that. I see some of my plant mommies on here and plant daddies, so they might have some plant questions for you. But today's topic is really on personal success and what that means. And so for all the people who are joining us, thank you. If you have any questions, we love for this to be interactive. Please post your questions and we'll get to them. However, let's get straight to our topic, because Shayla and I were catching up before this, and we were talking earlier this week, and we can literally go on for hours about this. So I just want to like jump straight into it. Where did this concept of personal success come in for you? Because I know, like, for me, success, has a lot of different connotations. Like, you define it differently. But then when you mentioned personal success, I was like, why was I so mind blown? I should know what personal success is, but it's all so different. So when does this concept come into mind for you?
Yeah, I think that the whole idea of personal success, at least for me, came from early on. My dad, of Nigerian descent, has like very specific ideas of what success meant. It's like, okay, you go to school, you get good grades, you go to college, then you get a good job, you make good money, and then you get a house, kids. So it was very transactional as far as what does that success mean. And so I think that from an early age, that was always in my mindset of that's what you do. You find the corporate path and you just move forward. And I think that from starting with that idea and trying to really mold myself into that mindset of what success was my first exposure to personal success. So, for example, success for me was initially, while I wanted to go into journalism, I said, I'm going to move to New York and go into fashion. And I kept on going back to say, no, I should go into accounting, because accounting is the logical idea, like that's success. And I fumbled my way through all of those accounting classes.
Yeah.
Every last one of them. And for me, I think that's where, again, the personal success, it's been something that's been consistently redefined. So it became a mode of determination, was a form of personal success. Of even when people told me I couldn't do something, being that underdog, either rooting for the underdog or being that underdog and overcoming is a way that I made success personal to me is where it started.
Yeah. I can relate to that 100%. I had another guest on here and he was defining success as just finishing school. And I don't know if it's like, if it's just the fact that we have all like our ethnic background just
Right.
sees that as success. But I always question that. Like, is it because society kind of created these pathways for us that we have to follow? Or is it because, you know, our parents weren't taught differently and that's all they ever knew? So then that's what they're teaching to us. So how do we rediscover these new pathways for ourselves? Right. And I feel like that's where we're at right now. In our 30s, we're like, there are other roads.
Yeah, there are other ways to make this work. And I feel like that's exactly where I'm at right now. Or even with starting the Plant Penthouse I had to ask myself, like, what am I waiting for? Or what's stopping me from redefining what success means? So, I mean, even from this time last year is actually when I started my consulting company. And so that was a way of me taking a leap from corporate America being the success to actually defining my own path being a new form of success in a new way. A complete mindset shift is really what it did. And I feel like from there, it's opened the door for me to consistently evolve what that means.
You know what's scary? You mentioned corporate, right? I can't remember. I don't even know how I knew about corporate at such a young age.
I know, right?
And why that spelled success.
Right.
Like, can you remember when that came into your, like, I can't even, like.
Yeah, I can't, I'm trying to, I think it's till this day, my dad still describes any corporation by their ticker symbol. So even if you're like, oh, UNH, like if it's United Health, anything, it's like always by the ticker symbol. So in my head, like that just became the undercurrent of, you know, if you get a degree, then that means, you know, that equals the beginning of success. And then essentially you work hard and then the equation is going to finish itself. And so as I, you know, got the degree and then got into corporate America, which is where we met through inroads. I think that I just automatically expected that when I reached those milestones, that success was also going to equal happiness. And I was absolutely miserable. And that's when I feel like the light bulb went off of, okay, how can I start down the path of making, if I'm forever going to be like chasing after success, how can I make that also bring me joy? So that's been a huge shift.
Yeah, I'm literally still a work in progress. I'm like that corporate work in progress. Let's get out of this robot mode and then get into a space where you can really feel a little bit more free, or really just kind of experience freedom in a different form that you've never experienced before, and tap into like a deeper self, right? Which we already talked about as well, because it is just sitting with yourself. Like, how do you sit with yourself? And when you had said personal success, I was like, what would I define as personal success? Would that be something that I'm grateful for, or would it be just acknowledging my accomplishments? Like, how do you measure personal success? I guess that would be a good question to know.
Yeah, I would say myself now, whereas we're second half of 2020, I would define that as when I get to the end of the day and I feel like I'm still my whole self. Because I feel like for so long I've been in a place where I was serving as the people pleaser, right? Being a shell of myself at the expense, really, of myself to please other people. So everyone else would leave full from what I was putting out, but it was myself who needed to be replenished and wasn't getting that. So I feel like from when I made my first exit from corporate before taking a break, getting back in, I was at such a personal low where I didn't recognize who I was anymore. My family didn't recognize who I was anymore. And that's when I realized, okay, I had to get extreme with myself and say, at what expense, or what are you willing to give up in place of getting back to who I am?
You already know what I was going to say. Like, I am there 100%. I feel like what happened to us? Why did we think corporate was such a success and like would bring us happiness and joy? And look at us now. Like
I
we've
know.
never been happier or more ourselves now, and we're still trying to figure that all out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you say like a shell of yourself, I don't know how many people who are listening to us, if you've ever felt that way, give us a little emoji or something, because you're not alone. Like
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was like, why do I feel so burnt out?
Yes.
Why am I turning into a person that I don't typically like to be around, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
that person now? Like it's crazy how the dynamics can shift in your world, right? When you're placed in all these different settings. And like what you choose to do with the knowledge that
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's based on your actions. And so, how did you get out and like build your consulting business? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, it came from, so I was working, that's when I lived in Minnesota, moved out to Seattle to work at Expedia. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to be on the West Coast. Like, this is going to be my life. And needless to say, it was not at all what I expected. I would say for better and for worse, right? It's those moments I feel like those low moments teach you and also remind you of what's working and what's not. And it was definitely a period of my life that just, it wasn't serving me. And so when it got to a point where I said, okay, you have to make a decision, I left. And that's when I got into working for a boutique consulting firm out there. And so I primarily worked with retailers. And even at that, in my head, I was still defining success as like checking a box. So like moving on to the next thing. And even so I moved on to that next role where I was like, okay, I'm finally in consulting. I'm out of audit and finance. Let's see what else is out there. And it still was like a little piece of me was missing. And so that was at a point where I said, let me just flip the script and try something completely different. And I got into bridal consulting. And it just opened my eyes to just different parts of myself that
Yeah.
I hadn't seen probably since like high school, where it's like just the freedom to
So sad,
create.
right?
And
Like
yeah.
when you were young, naive, and like the world was ours. Like
Oh yeah. Oh
we
yeah.
could just do anything and everything we could put our mind to.
Yes, exactly. And so I think from that point of being able to compare what I enjoyed of, the being free of the corporate sphere, and then also looking at being able to take pieces from my experience consulting. That's what that's when I came up with Corporate Carpentry, my consulting, my risk and compliance consulting business. And also I do project management, governance, basically taking everything that I learned from audit and compliance and finance and applying it to my work today. But what I love about it is, I'm able to have the freedom to fully be myself because I'm choosing my clients, and I'm able to be able to say, okay, is this at what expense if you take on, a specific client or a specific timeline or anything like that, I'm able to determine if it's the right fit for me versus being told, right, like what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. I feel like everything now is fully, I'm calling the shots from that aspect. I think that's where, when I was getting started with my business, seeing other consultants who are doing their thing and either loving it or seeing what was draining people, I was able to be able to weigh out, at least get a preview of what it might look like for myself, and start reprogramming of what I was in for,
I'm reprogramming literally every day. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like the more that I connect with people, the more answers I will find for myself. But it's
Mm-hmm.
really like, no, Angel, you need to just look deep within yourself and figure it all out and like release release the gifts that you have. And I feel like that's a space where you got into. You went into bridal styling, which is, I don't think it's completely off because you're
Right.
already such a fashionista, right?
Oh, thank you.
It only allowed you to do it on I guess, a professional level versus,
Mm-hmm.
styling yourself and your friends and your family or whoever comes into your atmosphere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can totally like see you in that space where you're just guiding people through all of these different like gowns and like dresses and helping them put their veils on or whatever.
Yeah.
But that opened up, like you said, a whole new chapter of creativity that you had been missing since high school, right? Which I don't know, did that give you like motivation and strength to start your consulting business, or like how did that revision
How does
your yeah,
yeah.
it doesn't have to connect, but like I'm just thinking out loud, like does it have any connection, or was it just like something that you really needed at that time and it allowed you to just manifest everything else that's happening in your life?
Yeah, I think for me, it made me slow down and just like focus on one day at a time. I think that's where we're taught, you know, when you're corporate, like, okay, for either like the fiscal year, and you're always looking, it's always like looking ahead, always looking at tomorrow. And I feel like by completely changing the course of my day, my schedule, everything, it forced me to really be uh, present, especially in bridal. You have to, each appointment, you have to be zoned in on, you know, their needs, really reading the room, they're being able to be that trusted advisor, that friend, the mom. You play all of those roles, and so for me, it made me realize that that's one of the things that I really value, is being able to build relationships and have those personal connections. And I realized that in my job, I was able to do that, but only within the realm of the job title, you know. And so I realized that for myself, I wanted that freedom to be able to meet new people, have new experiences. And so it was both the idea of getting that kind of entrepreneurial fire of being able to, you know, from comparing the sales to what I do now, it's, you know, I'm in charge of that. But then also I feel like it planted that seed, which developed into the Plant Penthouse, of reminding me of my creativity. So even
I
after I
like
started
that,
my
plant the
consulting
seed
practice,
for
yeah, oh,
Plant Penthouse. Oh,
yeah.
oh.
Right. See what I did there? So, I mean, yeah, I think that's where, even after I started my consulting practice, I was like, okay, there was a piece that I felt like hadn't been fully vetted yet. And that's where I think by being able to, I actually, midway through when I started consulting, I got an executive coach. And I always thought that, you know, an executive coach was either like once I've made it, or also just helping me with my business. But it was a process that taught me more about myself, about what does it mean now with success, of putting myself first, getting more comfortable saying no. How do I define continuously respecting myself? And I feel like all of those principles I've roped into success, and have roped into how do I live out each day? Like, how do I, for today, when I go to sleep, am I saying like, you know, today was a good day, or did I just go through the motions? Which, I mean, it still happens, but to be more mindful of how I feel like when there's a difference in that, you know.
This is completely off topic, but when you said mindful, it reminded me of this podcast I listened to about mindful eating,
Mm.
and just the thoughts that come into your mind when you're eating, right? Are you eating it for the texture, the taste? Are you eating it just because you want to? But basically going back to like internal reflection, which is exactly what you're doing. I know it's like completely off topic, but I
No.
never thought about eating in that way, right?
Mhm.
I never thought of like, does it look appealing or does it smell appealing? Like you kind of just, of course it's a little bit of everything, and it sounds a bit common sense, like for you, how to say no, how to create your own rules,
Mhm.
how to not listen to others, right? And just hearing you say, I was following everything that corporate had kind of laid out for me, but there was so much that was still missing. So then you went to an executive coach, and that to me is almost like going to someone to tell you what to do, because you're so used to doing that, right? And like, and when I say you, I mean like us as people, we're so used to allowing other people to tell us what to do, but not
Mhm.
really telling ourselves how to do it or like what to do next. And I think your whole transformation is so, it's really like moving, because that's, I just feel so closely related to it, because I share so much of the same sentiment that, yeah, it's crazy that we need someone else to help um, solidify our own selves, Does
Mm-hmm.
that make any sense?
It
Yeah.
does. And unlearn a lot
Yeah.
of what's just become ingrained. It's, and I feel like that's part of when you go to college, it's like they teach you how to learn, teach you how to take in information. Then you go to a corporate job or even any type of job, a fresh slate, and you have to take on, right, that company culture or the position, anything. You are there to serve what they want you to take on. And I feel like it came to the point where there was no separation between what they've told me that I am and who do I say that I am. And I think it's been the unlearning process of not defining myself by any of the parameters that anyone else has told me, but what does that actually mean for myself? Yeah.
So what are like one or two questions that you typically ask yourself at the end of the day?
Yeah, I would say two questions is I do kind of a pulse check on my like energy levels. It's like for example, myself, I recharge by being by myself. Like I love being out and meeting people, and I think that's one thing that I love about my business is, okay, like each day can be different, each situation can be different, but then being able to take that time to, now for me that includes like, okay, have you read your Bible? Have you actually been able to get back to a base that is representative of me, or am I flustered? Am I already thinking about tomorrow and all of the things that I have to do? And so I think the questions that I ask myself is, did it bring me joy? Did what I do today bring me joy in a way that's representative of myself and who I am and who I've said I am versus who other people have said I am? And then also that, am I proud of what I did today? And I think that it can be something as simple as like, okay, I worked out this morning, or like I did my dishes, or I did laundry. It can be anything that it's like something that I can actually say that I did for myself, is how I feel like I define that.
Would you consider those little wins personal success?
I do. I do. I don't think I would have before, but now it's like, I feel like just 2020 in general has been like, it's become more about those micro wins and those micro successes, that now it's just, for me, I'm willing to celebrate anything in that category.
Yeah. I mean, like when they say count your blessings, this year you literally need to count all your blessings because it has been a year and it's almost over, but like it's just beginning. Like I don't know how next year is gonna look like. I feel like it's gonna be even more crazy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And that is like, I get like one thing that I continually have to tell myself is like, don't worry about tomorrow. Today is enough trouble and enough worry. And it really, right, you think of the span of a day from when you wake up and you go to bed, there's so many mental obstacles, energy obstacles. There's so many different things that just by getting through today is a win. And I think that's for myself of, I am meant, like my personality is to be 10 steps ahead, just always. And so it's like to dial that back. and I
That
think
is that's a win to dial it back, right?
whoa,
You're
because
like,
the anxiety
okay,
will come
9
with the
steps.
quickness.
I'll only be 9 steps, not 10 steps ahead today.
Seriously though, seriously. And it's, yeah, I think that's teaching myself how to actually relax. And I think that's one of the things that my mom always stays on me about, is versus just like saying like, okay, like I'm okay, but then it's like you're still like clenched up and stressed, of actually meaning it. And for myself, it's been writing out like, what does that actually mean? What will it actually take where I can feel truly at rest, not just like lip service, but really mean it.
Yeah, we've all gotten so good at like lip service.
Oh,
We all tell ourselves these internal white lies, and we had talked about that too. Like we keep lying to ourselves. Why is it that we just don't tell ourselves the truth? Like what is it that we're so afraid of, right?
yes.
And I think when that day comes for me, I mean, like it's a work in progress, like I said,
Every
it
day.
will definitely. I mean, I don't think there's going to be like a breakthrough day or a session where I'm like a wholly enlightened person.
Like
That
no
would
more
be,
worries.
yeah, like, yeah, I would totally feel like purposeless in life, I guess, because that's all we're seeking, right? Is a space where we can just truly be ourselves and be accepted, but also just really truly accepting ourselves. And I think when I think of personal success, I guess that's where I would want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like, if you have like an end goal for personal success, or if you're just thinking about like what these accomplishments mean to you and how they look like, what would that be?
Yeah. I feel like I think to your point, it's like personal success in these past few years of literally going from job to job, like moving across the country, moving back. It's that my pursuit of, I think, achievement isn't where the success really is. It's when I am fully walking in my purpose of fully doing things that obviously every moment can't be like, this is exactly what I want to do, but overall to align myself with uh, jobs, activities, opportunities that light a fire inside of me and serve that passion. And I think everyone has it, whether it's like working in a nonprofit or, working in a specific industry or spending time with different people, being able to know that you are being fed by what you're giving energy to and what you're putting your time in. I think that for me to be able to say that that's something that's consistent for me and isn't lying dormant, like that is what is success for me. And to continually check myself if
Yeah.
that's what's happening.
It's almost like setting intentions for yourself, like just doing things intentionally, thinking intentionally, acting intentionally, talking intentionally. And yeah, that's like checking yourself every day. Like, how are you feeling? Where's your energy level at? Exactly what you said. Are you showing up as your best self? And if you're
Mm-hmm.
not, what's causing that stress or anxiety? How do you
Mm-hmm.
solve that for yourself? So we are 26 minutes in. This usually goes for 30 minutes. And I can talk for hours, and I say that all the time, but I always have to be conscious of everyone else's time as well. Given we have about 3 minutes left, and we haven't had any questions because I've been keeping my eye on it. I'll leave it to the room to say if you have any questions, please let us know. But I do want to give you the last word in regards to like what you want to share with our audience. Are there any words of wisdom, or do you have any words of wisdom that you'd like to share, or any experience that you just want other people to know and learn from? So I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, and I'll pause if there are any questions. But I think the biggest lesson that I've learned this year around success is don't wait for it. I think that even with starting the Plant Penthouse, it was a idea that I've had for a long time. Not necessarily, I didn't know that it was going to be the Plant Penthouse, but I knew that there was something in me that I enjoy. What do I enjoy doing? And that was, I enjoy writing. I enjoy building relationships. I enjoy, being able to make personal connections. And so I wrote out everythmy that I enjoy, that brings me, that just excites me. And I always thought in my head that next year I'll do it. What my joys are and what's important to me. I put it in the future at the cost of what am I doing today. And so it clicked for me that there's no point to leave it in the future, that you can bring those things into today and just get started. And so that's my biggest takeaway, or something to leave, is that if there's something that is on your heart, or something that you feel like is purposeful to you, just take the first step. And then the rest will absolutely follow, is what I firmly believe.
I cannot agree with that anymore. And you know what that reminds me of? Like entrepreneurs who are
Yeah.
just people who have an entrepreneurial mindset or have a lot of ideas. They constantly they get defeated because other people have executed on their ideas, right? But it's
Mhm.
because you kept, you were in debt to yourself. If we're
Yeah,
talking finance, like you just
truly.
kept telling yourself you owe yourself this, 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 and this because you put yourself on the back burner. And so I think those are extremely powerful words, last words to share with our audience, because yeah, if you got something that's burning a fire inside of you,
Yeah.
go and continue to put more fuel on it and see what happens.
Exactly. And that's personal success.
I love it. Well, Shayla, thank you so much for joining us today. If this is everyone's first time on the call, I do want to reiterate that this is a series that we have every Friday at 7 p.m. With people who inspire us. Shayla is a huge inspiration to me. If you would like to follow her at Tall Girl Gets Fit and the Plant Penthouse. I don't know if your consulting business has an Instagram, but you can make a shout out as well.
I know. I mean, it is saved. Is there anything there? There is.
Okay, good. So just want to make sure I'm covering everything. And yeah, feel free to follow us as well and share with your friends. Thank you everyone for joining. Shayla, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, girl.
Now you can get back to your beet juice.
I know, you're right. I know. And it may be paired with a pizza. So.
Ooh, pizza sounds so good right now. It is lunchtime for me. So.
I forgot that. Yeah, 2:30, huh? Well, you enjoy your lunch then.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye.
You too. Bye.